Hi, you guys. It's Love Obsession. I know you guys haven't seen me, I want to say, in a year or more, but it's been a hell of a year. I still was uploading during a great time in my life, May 2020. And I think I stopped uploading after maybe October, November of 2020. Maybe, I'm not sure. But still, I mean, that was the last time I ever uploaded, and I remember that I didn't want to stop uploading, but I didn't have any more content. And that was sad. But that's not the point of this video. Um I'm here again. And I don't even know if I'm gonna restart my YouTube channel or if this might be the last video I upload. Um but I did want to share this video because I think it's something important that a lot of people have to hear about. And if you are under 18, do not watch this video. Under any circumstance. Unless, and I really mean this, unless your parent says it's okay for you to watch it. I know when I was growing up, hearing that, you would say, I don't care, I'm still gonna watch it. But the reason I say this is because it's a delicate matter, and I've always been a person to protect people from harm. So I don't want you to either get any ideas or just to hear things that you're not ready to hear yet or have even heard of yet. Of course, this is not going to be so explicit in some ways, but there's some things that I just rather you not hear if you are not age appropriate enough to hear, or if you aren't ready to hear it. Okay? Please do not watch this video if you're under 18 unless you've been given permission by a parent. Okay. So I've had a lot of rough moments in my life, right? And as a human, right, we learn to just suck it up and keep going, right? We do suffer, but most of us just go like, you know what? Let me suffer for a couple days and then we're gonna suck it up. Just keep living life, right? That's what I did most of my life. Especially because I always felt like I was never listened to and always just put to the side. So, for example, one of my pet peeves is when I can clearly tell you're not listening to me and you're just saying, yeah, and I can see in your body language that you don't care about anything that I'm saying and you're just agreeing. Some people even just agree before I even finish my sentence. That is the biggest pet peeve of mine because my whole life it has felt like I've never been listened to. So yeah, but the point of saying that is because of all that, because of all this trauma that I endured as a child, and I endured because of men, and trauma that I caused myself, it has led to a really big downfall recently. And I want to speak on that because it's a very important downfall. See, if you watched any of my other videos on YouTube, you can see that I do have a couple other serious videos where I talk about almost being homeless and stuff like that. So if you haven't watched those videos and you want to know a little bit more about that, then go ahead and watch those videos because I don't want to focus too much on that. But that did cause me trauma when it comes to financial strain. So my financial mindset was very wonky. Like I was very, very stingy with money for a very long time because of that. And always being afraid, never feeling safe. It wasn't only until this last year where I started feeling safe. And it was thanks to a wonderful person. Now, I'm gonna try my best not to cry in this video. Um, but it's a very emotional person for me. So, of course, if I cry, I do apologize in advance. But basically, because of this person, I was able to feel safe and secure. And I was able to feel like anything was possible. Something I never felt before. Um, to me, it felt like we were both stuck somewhere we didn't want to be, and we helped each other out of those situations. And we both decided to live together. It wasn't like one of those like, oh yeah, we're both ready, but it was one of those like we kind of have to in a way. But it still was the most amazing decision I could ever make for my life. Um, Kind of fast forwarding a little bit because I don't want to get too into that, but there was moments where I would self-sabotage this said relationship. At the time I didn't realize why that was. Now I do. I had a lot of trauma, a lot of unhealed trauma, and I never actually went through the emotions. I never actually helped myself, mostly because I always thought I needed a therapist, which getting a therapist is the best idea. But I could never afford it. So because of that, I always put excuses, right? Excuses to why I couldn't fix the problem. And in reality, I could fix it myself through spirituality, but I didn't know that. Of course, I still want to get therapy, but I still was able to help myself through spirituality. Point being, I was self-sabotaging myself a lot from 2020 through, I want to say, the end of 2021 a lot. And I didn't realize it. It caused a lot of problems, and I admit to it. And I really wish I could fix all of it, but I can't. It's my past now. I made a lot of mistakes that now I see that even just mentally thinking some things, it affected me. I would go day by day just thinking the worst and negatively about almost every single situation. I was basically afraid of living. That is no way to live. To the point that my depression came back several times. Over the years, I learned to fake a smile and to hide my depression so well that even I wasn't aware when it was creeping back up on me until it was almost too late. But I always controlled myself from my suicidal tendencies. It would get to a point where I would think it, but I just would say no. Remember, you promised yourself, and you can't break promises to yourself. And that's how I would control myself, because I learned to control myself and my temper over the years. Even my emotions, like to the point that I could love you with my whole heart, but because of trauma, I learned to control those emotions so I wasn't as emotional as I was in the inside. So 2020 through 2021, it was the great, it was the greatest experience of my life, and at the same time the worst. But the worst because of me. The worst because I couldn't help myself. And the best because of that one person that I was spending my life with. I made very poor decisions, which led to a really bad mental state a bunch of times. But what I want to focus on right now is basically the ending, like the big tower moment. What led up to the big tower moment for me? What led me to saying, that's it, I am done. It's time to really gain some clarity, introspect, and fix my goddamn self. Because I am done torturing myself. I am done being unhappy. I want my happily ever after. Even if it's not just being me. I can't really quite tell you exactly when my mental health deteriorating started. I really can't. But I can pinpoint it being around the fall. The start of the fall. So from summer to fall. Right? And it happened slowly, but at the same time quickly. It got to a point where I could no longer feel anything. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in that position, but I have never, in these 22 years of my life, been in that position where I go numb. And that scared me. And I can't even begin to describe the whole image of how it felt. But I felt trapped inside my body. And I couldn't ask for help. This part is very hard for me because this was a moment in time where this person that gave me this wonderful life was no longer interested in it. And so I didn't even feel capable of sharing how I felt with the only person in my life that I ever felt I shared a deep connection with and felt comfortable with. So I was alone, but I couldn't help myself. So I went numb. And I am so disappointed in myself. And I am so distraught because there was a point in where there was a conversation that I really wanted to have. And I went numb for the whole conversation. And it wasn't just numb to the point of just not feeling. I was numb to the point of not being able to move. None of my body. I was looking from the inside to the outside, thinking, wanting to speak, trying to force myself to move at least one finger. And I couldn't even move one finger. And it was torture. Seeing the person that I love feel like I wasn't putting my part in one of the most important conversations we could ever have. And I laugh now because I don't understand why I let it get to that point. I'm not saying the outcome would have been different. I'm simply saying that I could have helped myself sooner. That was the first time that happened. Me going numb to the point of not being able to move a finger. It happened 2 more times after that. Now, I can't really tell you that I recall these times, but I do remember feeling it. That one was the most impactful, and that's why that's the one that I can recall the most. Because it lasted, I want to say, for 30 minutes or more, and I can't even honestly tell you because I couldn't move to look at the clock. I was screaming. The worst part is that I was screaming inside my head. And I kept saying, help me, help me, shake me, slap me, do something, but help me because I can't move. I can't talk. And you want me to talk, but I can't do it. So shake me, do something. I kept screaming that over and over inside myself, and it never happened. And I don't know how, but there was a point in where I was able to be strong enough to move, and it started with my hand. And I remember that it started with my right hand. It started with my finger and then my actual palm. And then it was my legs and then my body. But I was still stuck sitting. I couldn't get up. I don't want to go into too much detail, really, but this is so important. So if you feel this way, please get help, because I still didn't get help. I still didn't ask for help. I just kept saying, I keep going numb and I don't understand why. And I would look it up, but Google never helped. The worst part about not getting help is that it led me to doing something that I regret. I don't want to say I regret doing it because of what the outcome could have been. I regret doing it because of the timing. The timing made it seem like I did it for another reason. And people, I 100% believe, think that I did it for the most horrid, insane reason that I would never in a million years do. I would never do that. But I can't change people's minds. So, as I said before, I've had suicidal attempts, right? I'm not going to get into detail. I've had 2 unsuccessful ones. But that was the past talking, right? Past tense. Because right now I'm talking in the present tense as if never mind. Basically, I had a third. After the 3 times I went numb, I had a third suicidal attempt. And if you know me, and if you didn't know this about me, let's just say that's why I always remind people that you don't really know me like you think you do. Honestly, there's only one person in this world that really knows me. And at this point, I think that person doesn't want anything to do with me. But that's okay. I've learned that it's okay. It took a long time. But basically, I heard that I had that third suicidal attempt, and this one was the worst. I took anything and everything I could to make it successful. To the point that I was fucking high. And I'm sorry for cussing. That's why I said nobody under 18, but I was fucking high. I was high and wanted to throw up so many times, but I didn't let myself throw up. I was having a serious conversation, feeling high. But I took the conversation seriously, so I didn't want to mention what I had done. Don't worry, at some point I did mention that I'd done it. And I don't regret it, because I'm not trying to hide what I did. I needed that person to know, in case, well, it was successful. And it led to a furious person. But I understand, because, again, timing. I remember, and this is why I want to give this warning or this advice. Never, no matter how you feel, choose suicide over help. And please, for the love of God, never seek advice from people who are not actually interested in helping you. And I say this for anything. It's not like I got bad advice, because I wasn't really looking for it. But when it comes to love, when it comes to your life, financial advice, advice about your suicidal tendencies, advice about anything, never, ever, ever look at advice from someone who isn't interested in actually helping you. Or from someone who has some type of feeling, like a negative feeling about the thing you're talking about. For example, if someone hates love, why would you ask them for advice? If someone has a thing against females, right? And, and you're a guy, right? And asking for advice about a girl, but you're asking a guy that hates females, why would you ask for him advice? Right? So always be careful who you ask for advice from. But never under any circumstance choose suicide over advice, over help, over anything else. I advise you this because it was hell coming back from that decision. Because you see, I'm here, right? I didn't succeed. But I didn't go to the hospital either, because I never go to the hospital, because I'm the type of person that likes resolving my own problems by myself. Don't do that either. Really don't do that, because I always do that, and it is not a good idea. But yeah, so coming back from that was the worst. Yeah, I literally laid in bed wanting to throw up every second of the day, not feeling hungry at all whatsoever, being mentally, emotionally, and physically basically dead, exhausted. And still, what made it worse was none of that. It was that other situation that I still kept trying to help. Not mend, because I knew that it was mendable at that point, in that point of time. But I was trying to help the situation. And I did that even feeling like that. It was like I was so near death and so alive at the same time. And I want to say that lasted about 2 weeks. I can't possibly tell you how much it hurt, because I forced myself to go out some days. And I would walk outside. It hurt to walk a couple steps. I couldn't even breathe. I would lose my breath taking 3 steps. I would walk down the stairs and I forced myself to look normal. I tried my very best to act normal. Like I could breathe. Like I just wasn't hungry because of the other situation. Like just everything was bad for other reasons other than my suicidal attempt. Yeah. Don't do it. Please. But I do want to say, out of all that, right, that was my big tower moment. From that point on, I said, no more. No mas. No mas. And I said, you're going to fix your life now. You are going to start taking charge and responsibility for everything, even if you had no fault in it. I started forgiving people who I know would never, ever, ever ask for my forgiveness. I started talking to people who didn't even deserve to talk to me ever again. And I gave all my attention to me. It was a really hard process. Some might say that I didn't even take that long, but you don't know how long it felt for me. For me to feel okay with life was in about mid-January. This all went down in November. Again, some of you might say that didn't take very long, but I took it seriously. I didn't take it as a game. It was like a last warning to myself. It was a last warning to myself. And I took it fucking seriously. I've never taken anything else other than the other situation that seriously in my life before. But I took this one a little bit more seriously because I knew this was about my mental health and my future. Because this is my future. I'm going to live it for the rest of my life. I know nothing about anything else. I don't know who is or isn't going to be in my life. But I know that I'm going to be in my life. I know that I need to be good. I need to be great. And so I decided to dive deep into spirituality. I spiritually awakened. And if you don't want to hear this spiritual talk, then go ahead and click out, because let me just say that I am the most spiritual being in your circle if you're watching this video. And if it bothers you, you don't have to talk to me. You don't have to be near me. You don't have to watch me. Okay? Because I am great. Okay? I spiritually awakened. I ascended to a divine feminine, divine empress energy. Okay? So I radiate with positivity. And that doesn't mean I can't cuss. That doesn't mean I don't have my bad days, my bad moments. That just means that I learned my lessons and I healed things that other people don't want to heal. And that I'm spiritual. That is all it means. It doesn't make me any less or better than you. Just makes me me. I dove deep into spirituality, and that helped me heal. That helped me really put all my energy into myself and just forgive everything and everyone who's ever wronged me. But I also had to admit my faults and my mistakes in life, right? It's not just about people. It's about you as well. I did all of that. And again, healing isn't linear. So I had great days and I had horrible days, had meh days. Even today, I've healed, but there is never a person 100% healed. I can say I'm 100% healed. What I mean from that is I'm 100% healed from certain situations, from certain things. But there's always something you're going to have to heal from. There's always pain. That's what life is, pain. So, from everything I've said and from who I've become, because I honestly feel like I've become a woman that I've always wanted to be. Yes, there's still work to be done, but I've become someone who I've always wanted to be. Someone who my younger self looks up to. Someone who, when I have kids, can look up to and say, Mommy, I am so proud of you. Because that is one thing I'm going to teach my children. Okay? I'm going to teach them to be proud of themselves and each other. I value a lot in life. I value people. I value just existing. I value a lot. And I have so much gratitude for everything that's happened to me. Because even if it was really bad things, it led me to being who I am today. And again, I don't know my future. I don't know what it's going to look like. But what I do know is that I'm going to make sure that I have the best future. And I never, ever want to live in fear again. So if you meet me now, don't look at me as who I was. Look at me as who I am today and who I'll be tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching this video. And if you remember one thing from this video is never give up. Because tomorrow is going to be so different from yesterday. And the lessons you have to learn, no matter how painful, will always lead you up. So just like I had the worst tower moment in my life, and I still found a way to bring myself up and build my own castle, no matter how small. You can do it too. I promise you that. Thank you for watching so much, and I love you all. Love and light. Love obsession